Does anyone have a question?
I do, Stuart. In my meditation for the last 2 weeks, I've had a question come up, and it is, can you talk about the Guru's grace, please?
Well, that's, it's kind of a complicated question, because most people really believe that if they live in the so-called Guru's grace, they don't really have to do anything about themselves. That the Shakti, the energy, the aura of the Guru will do everything to get them to have a spiritual life. And I've met many people like that. And it always kind of bothered me, because you live in the Guru's grace, you have to be grateful for what the Guru is giving to you. And you can't just bask in it like you bask in the sun on a beach. It really requires a depth of inner work, taking in the Shakti, opening to the Shakti, allowing it to go deep enough to change you inside. That is really honoring the Guru. And I learned that from Rudy, because I remember when Muktananda was in New York, and we went up to Big Indian, and people were chanting and chanting and chanting. And yeah, chanting creates a vibration. It kind of gets everyone stoned, kind of gets everybody a little high. And, and I remember Rudy came up to me and he said, "Stuart, don't chant. Just do your inner work and take in the energy of Baba. He has a very strong energy. And if you take it in, it'll transform you inside. But don't sit there and chant. You'll let all of the energy out of yourself. Mm-hmm. You'll be floating in some kind of, ethereal world that once the chanting stops, it all goes away and nothing has changed inside us. Hmm. So I'll never forget that. And I used to meet so many people that would tell me they live in the Guru's grace. Why do they have to work on themselves? The Guru's grace will take care of everything. Well, to me, it was always the greatest insult you could ever, give the Guru, by saying, I don't have to work on myself. I don't have to open inside. Your grace will do everything to get me to God. And I mean, look, even before I met Rudy, none of that made any sense to me. And then after having sat through so many sessions with Rudy, and having watched him with other spiritual teachers and the way he worked around them, I realized the greatest honor you can do for a teacher is open deeply inside, take in the Shakti, and transform your life. Not sitting there, I don't have to do anything. It's great sun today. I'm going to get a great suntan, Shakti tan. And I don't have to do anything about myself. It'll all take place because I accept that I'm living in the Guru's grace. I think that's just a way of dishonoring the teacher. A way of honoring the teacher is sitting with the teacher, doing your inner work, opening, allowing the work to take you to a whole new place inside yourself. Honoring the Guru and what he's teaching you about how you can get closer to God. I mean, many years ago when I went, I didn't even know I was going to see him, but I wound up seeing Kala Rinpoche and Sanada, Lamasery in Bengal, in India. I mean, what enabled me to get the most extraordinary, and I'm talking the most extraordinary teachings imaginable from this particular Rinpoche, was the fact that I was not sitting there in the Guru's grace. I was not sitting there with my yapa beads, Om Mani Padme Hum, blah, blah, blah. I was sitting there and really working on myself, opening to receive his Shakti, opening to receive whatever he has to teach me. My opening forced him to go so deep inside of himself that he literally gave me a lifetime of Tibetan Buddhist teachings in 3 days. In 3 days. To me, that is sitting in the Guru's grace. Because you really take something away with you. You know, you're not a sannyasin, you're not a this or that, all this stuff, you know. It has to do with ancient Indian law. It has almost nothing to do with living in America, you know. You do your work. You take in the Shakti, you take in the energy. You allow it to transform you. That's the greatest service you can do for a teacher. I mean, a teacher always dreams of students that become more than him or her. You know, not that everybody has to live in their grade, but they grow and they become more, not egotistically more, but spiritually more, in a deep state of surrender to God. You know, that's what you dream about, finding people that do that kind of thing. And to me, that is living in the Guru's grace, because you are respecting, you're taking in the energy of the Guru. You know, you're using it to develop your life and get a connection with God. And you're not just dumping it all on the Guru, saying, well, I don't have to do anything. I mean, I used to be around people that studied with Sai Baba that used to do it. But why do I have to work on my, they used to tell me this. You know, Sai Baba will take care of everything. And the first little tension that came along, you'd see them fighting and arguing. It was amazing to me. I mean, I learned this from Rudy. I saw the way he worked with Muktananda. It was just an education and a half for me. And
Thank you.
He had no great love for Muktananda, you know. Muktananda, I saw what Muktananda used to do. It was a magic game that used to go on. Head games, mind games, magic tricks. Try to take me away from Rudy. But I got a very politically correct answer from Nityananda. I had to go above them all to get the right answer. And when I told him that answer, I'll never forget this. He called me into his chambers. He gave me a beautiful silk, long orange robe. And he said to me, you will be a great teacher someday. But it was the knowledge of Rudy's inner work that enabled me to go deep enough in myself to allow Nityananda to come out of my heart and give me that answer. I certainly couldn't have come up with that answer on my own. So the Guru's grace, frankly, I hate to say this, I won't say it. The Guru's grace, you know, is the amount of work that you can do inside yourself to grow, using the Shakti, the energy of the Guru, to take you so deep inside yourself that you build a connection with higher energy in the universe. You become a child of God. You don't become a child of God by saying, the Guru will do this for me. It doesn't work. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you, Stuart.
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
What is the significance of dreaming of beings and places that you've never been before, but find out they're real?
Well, you probably have been there before. You know, you have many lifetimes. God knows where you have been and traveled, and you know. So I wouldn't say that. You might be visiting, places in past lifetimes that you need to go to learn something that you missed while you were there, or places where you did learn incredible things and you've got to be reminded of them. So I wouldn't say places you've never been to. I would say places you have been to.
Mm-hmm. Well, I see. Yeah.
In a dream, you're relaxed enough to allow the unconscious to really operate. You know? God knows where it'll take you. Does anyone else have a question?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, the grace of Rudy, I'll get back to that, you know, in my life was that every time I was around him, he used to break me down. He would force me to go so deep inside myself, you know, that I had to surrender all the blocks and things that were keeping me, you know, from becoming, you know, connected to God and from doing in my life what I had to do in my life. That was the grace. The grace was that I couldn't be around Rudy without getting broken down. And at first it was hard as hell. My God, my egos kept coming up. And I said, first I finally said, Stuart, fuck your ego. Just open and let it come in, get broken down. Get broken down. Your self-importance is a lot of crap. Becoming a child of God is what this is all about. And nobody's going to get there unless they can sit with somebody who's capable of breaking them down. That's the Guru's grace. Does anyone else have a question? And you all are that for me. You all are the Guru's grace for me. Coming here and doing these classes, you know, forces me to break myself down. I mean, today there are 45, 50 people in meditation between here and Europe and Israel and Brazil. And the presence of all of you is in many ways, it's just like the presence of Rudy. It forces me to break myself down. And I have to be here to learn and to not to kind of learn how to do it, but how to continue to do it. Because it's too easy to relax and take yourself for granted. And oh my God, I've arrived someplace. And there's no, you know, I've been reading the poems of this guy, Rumi, very interesting. Mm. Everything is about the opposite. Mm. Everything in every one of his poems. They're not really poems, they're just kind of wisdom things. And it's all about the opposite. Mm. Whatever reason he comes up with, or things that may sound great, the next line is the exact opposite of it. Mm. Break himself down so he can get closer to God. I mean, it's very interesting. Does anyone else have a question? Okay, if there are no more questions, thank you. God bless you all. And for being my guru, you know, just being here, as I said, forcing me to break myself down. I know I need that in my life, and I'm grateful to every one of you. Your very presence helps me to do that. So God bless you. I mean, okay, if there are no more questions, then there'll be a meditation tomorrow evening, and I'm looking forward to seeing everyone. Thank you. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.
Thank
God bless you.
Stuart.
You're welcome.
Stuart.
Keep feeling better.
Yeah, I'm okay. You know, I mean, I've had a very asymptomatic COVID experience. You know, 98.6 temperature for the last 7 days. But, you know, but it's just got to go away. The line is it's going away.
Yeah.
Hopefully by tomorrow. So bless you all. Thank you. Thank you for your well wishes, for, you know, being, you know, allowing me to be in your hearts and thoughts. And I'll see everyone tomorrow. Bless you.
Thank you, Stuart.